Hello and welcome everyone to the next topic of Microsoft Entra training where we are going to discuss about Entra licenses, users and groups. So when we talk about Entra licenses, we will be seeing the pricing model of Entra, and in the identity creation we will be creating users and groups from the Azure portal for which we will be leveraging the Azure account. So all of you can use your free account to do this particular lab demonstration. When we talk about Microsoft Entra pricing, it comes into different editions with free Microsoft Entra 365 or P1 and P2 tiers, where we have the free edition included with an Azure subscription. So whenever you create an Azure account, so by default you will be having the free subscription. If you want premium editions, that is available when you sign an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, or you can obtain it from an open volume license program, or you can procure it from the cloud solution providers program. Azure and Microsoft 365 subscribers can buy P1 and P2 licenses online also by going and checking the specific type of premium license that you want to go ahead and paying for a some amount, desired amount, which is required to upgrade from free to P1 or P2. So as you can see, when we go ahead for free, a few features of Microsoft Entra are provided. But when you upgrade from the free license, you get multiple features of Microsoft Entra which can be availed by you, such as conditional access or having multiple methods of second factor authentication and so on. So let's have a look onto the different Microsoft Entra ID pricing that we have. So this is a Microsoft document telling us about Microsoft Entra licensing. So here you can see we have multiple licensing option with the free one is included with the Microsoft Cloud subscription, and you can upgrade to P1 and P2 licenses. We also have Entra Suite, which is a combination of all the Entra products availability that can be provided to you. And if you want to avail features of P1 and P2, you get multiple features like conditional access, risk based conditional access, SSPR with write back capabilities, which is not there in the free tier or Office 365 plan. When we go for the pricing part, if you upgrade for P1, P2 or Microsoft Entra Suite, you have to pay for P1 $6, for P2 $9, and Entra Suite you pay $12. There are multiple features which are added the moment you upgrade to P1 or P2 licenses. So when we can see that risk-based conditional access is only available for the P2 licenses that we have, not for the premium P1. So if you want to go ahead for a specific utility, specific compliance to be met within the organization in terms of identity and access management, we can upgrade our licenses from P1 or P2 or go ahead with the Microsoft Entra Suite pricing. The next is the Admin Center. So Admin Center is a web-based identity portal which through which you can manage all the users, the groups, the devices, and the applications which are launched. Not only that, you can make sure that you add a user from Entra Admin Center and can also delete the users. You can check all the users which come into high risk and check different identity based permissions related to the user. So it provides a unified administrative experience for organizations to configure and manage their Entra solutions in a centralized location. Let's have a look at this. Can get redirected to Microsoft Entra admin login, and I will be using my own account. The identity security score. If I click on recommendations, it will tell me certain recommendations which will strengthen my security posture related to identity. So here are 5 security practices, and you can see all the score points and which are the impacted resource type and when this information was fetched. So it tells me that you should use least privilege administrative roles, designate more than one global admin, use password hash synchronization if it is a hybrid synchronization, do not expire passwords, and do not allow users to grant consent to unreliable applications. Not only this, if I click on the user tab, similar to what we have in the Azure portal. I can list down all the list of the users that I have, and I can do certain management related to the user in one particular dashboard. Then the next service that we have as a part of Microsoft Entra domain, which is a Microsoft Entra Domain Services. Let's understand this. For example, I am using an application within my on-premises, and I want to move this application to the Azure environment. We know in the Azure environment for identity and access management, we use Microsoft Entra. But this application, since it was working in the on-prem, it leverages ADDS, right? Active Directory Domain Services. We have seen the difference between ADDS and Entra in our previous lecture. Now, since you're migrating this application and it is compatible to ADDS type of authentication, when you move it to Azure, it can have an identity requirement which can be only fulfilled by ADDS. So, for those scenarios, we use Microsoft Entra Domain Services, and we move this application to the Azure, and it will provide all the features that are there in the on-prem directory solution service, similarly in the Azure environment. So Microsoft Entra Domain Services, which were formerly known as Azure ADDS, this is a managed domain services operating in Azure and gives you very much traditional very much traditional Active Directory features without having to manage the domain controllers. So you whenever you are leveraging on Microsoft Entra Domain Services, which is a cloud based Active Directory, you get services like domain join, group policies, LDAP based connections, Kerberos or NTLM based authentication, which are part of ADDS within the on-premises. That is why it is mainly used for legacy applications which cannot work with the Entra solution. So in those cases, those traditional applications which still require ADDS to function, and we need LDAP based authentication methods and Kerberos based authentication methods like we have in on premises. To operate in Azure, we leverage the service of Microsoft Entra Domain. So there is a training on Microsoft which you can complete. So Microsoft Entra Domain Services provides several benefits that you don't need to manage, update, and monitor the domain controllers, and you don't need to deploy and manage the Active Directory replication. This particular document is on AZ-104. I will tell you how to complete AZ-104 self-learning. You will be opening the official document of Microsoft Azure, where you will be redirected to a self-learning platform in which we have my manage identity and governance, onto which whatever topics that we are having in sequence, you can cover it from here as well. And here you can see we have Entra Domain Service as one of the topic, and how it is beneficial, just have a look. So we have just discussed about this service, and this is for organizations that use ADDS based credentials for authentication, like features like group policy is there within them. So whenever you are moving this application into Azure, one key issue is of the authentication. That is why Microsoft is providing you with the Entra Domain Services as an alternative approach, where you can have the group policy management, domain join, Kerberos based authentication within the Microsoft Entra tenant. The next is identity creation, which is very important topic. We have a user. For example, today I thought let's host my new organization within Azure. So I am the owner of that organization. So I create an account on Azure and I am a global administrator. Now I hired 5 people in my organization to do a set desired task. Those are virtual machine administrators, Those are database people. So I will be giving them roles like database contributor, database reader. So if I have 5 users, I will give user 1 and user 2 permission of VM admin, user 3 and user 4 permission to be a database contributor, and user 5 to be a database reader, so that they have the desired permissions and they can do certain tasks within the account. So for all those 5 people, first I will create user IDs, right? So whenever I create user IDs, they will be having a username and a password. And for the first time when they sign in with the username and password, they will be required for a password reset. Once they complete the password reset, if I have enabled MFA as a mandatory step, they will complete the MFA as well. So when we talk about users, in the Azure account, we have different types of users that we can create, like cloud identities. These users exist in the Microsoft Entra ID, and these are examples like administrator accounts, users that you want to manage yourself, right? Uh, their source is the Microsoft Entra, and you don't need to bring them, they don't need to have their identity being synchronized or created somewhere else rather than the Microsoft Entra itself. Then we have directory synchronized identities. So there are users which are present in the on premises, and when you want to synchronize those users for as part of the synchronization activity, when we use Entra Connect, you bring these users from the on premises to the Azure environment, and these users are listed as directory synchronized users. Their source is Windows Server 80. And then we have the guest users or the federated users. These users exist outside the Azure, such as they have Xbox Live account, or they can be having a different Gmail account. So this type of account is useful when we want to collaborate with external vendors, or maybe we want to collaborate with contractors, so that we want them to have certain access over our resources, and once their help is no longer required, we can remove those accounts from our system. So those are referred as guest users. So whatever type of users that you have within the Azure account, they will be having all the similar permissions to the user type. You can do all the activities with those users. So now let's create users within the Azure portal. You can create their name, username, and the profile information like job title and department. But whenever you are doing certain activities like creating a user or creating a group, you must have certain permissions. To create a user or manage a user, you must be a global administrator. Since I have my own personal account and you must be using your own personal account, you all are global administrators. So global administrator has the capability that they can manage their users, right? And also you can be a user administrator to create or manage users. One more important thing to remember is there is a section of deleted users. So all the deleted users that you delete, those have the capability that within the 30 days period they can be restored back. For all the users, you can track the sign in and audit logs, and you can get information related to each of the users like picture, job, contact information about each user in detail. So either you can create it from the Azure portal, or you can use Microsoft Admin Center, Intune Admin Console, or even can be done with a CLI capability. So let's go to the Azure portal and see. So we are logged in into our account and we will search the service of Microsoft Entra here. And here we will expand these options and we have it the whole dashboard is very much similar to the Microsoft Admin Center. So here you can see Microsoft Entra has simpler integrated experience for managing all the identity and access management needs. Try our new Microsoft Entra Admin Center, which we have just seen now. So we have the user tab here. So all the users that I have created within the account are listed here. Again, you can check all the audit log activities. You can check the sign in logs. You can check all the deleted users which are there. You can set up any SSPR capability for the users. You can have the user settings tab to manage the users. And next we have the groups tab. So let's create a user within the Azure account and see how we can bifurcate between the three categories of the user: the cloud user, the guest users, and the synchronized users. So let's see the lab in the next video. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep supporting. Let's do the lab in the next video series.